Sagittarius, welcome to Starchaeology Tarot. I am Desi. I'll be your Starchaeologist on this Starchaeological dig into your soul. Welcome to your April reading, and thank you for joining me. My intention here today is to deliver a message to you from Spirit the message to you from Spirit that will best align you with your highest self, your highest path, your highest good. And also hopefully deliver a message that is most resonant and relevant at this time. Keep in mind this is for all Sagittarius folks. So there may be some things that resonate, some things that don't. If something doesn't, guess what? That part's not for you. It's for someone else. So take what you will from this reading. If you have any additional intention you would like to throw on the fire, the Sagittarius fire, so to speak, please do that now through this video. Energy travels through space and through time. Time is not real, it's just a point. So you even setting an intention now watching this video does factor into this reading, into the cards that we draw together. Let's begin. Sag, wow, you guys are in for a transformational month. Truly transformational. The potential to be a sort of personal breakthrough for you. And I think most of that is internal, but it can also be, things only start internal before they are reflected in the external. So whatever this breakthrough is, whatever this huge transformation is that the month is carrying you towards, it all starts just simmering inside you to begin with. We start with the Seven of Wands and the Seven of Pentacles, two seven numbers. Seven is the number, it's the number of earth and heaven combined. Heaven is 3 and earth is 4. Earth plus heaven. It's like you are trying to bring heaven to earth. Your consciousness, what you are putting out there, is what you are working towards, is creating that utopia on earth, bringing your dreams and rooting your dreams into reality, into the world that is around you, which is a very noble thing to do, because it's not just for you, it's for everyone who surrounds you. Sevens also appear in tarot in many of the suits. Seven has to do specifically with pushing through a particular tedious stage of hard work. The Seven of Pentacles is largely about kind of getting stuck in the contemplating and reflecting of all the hard work that has brought you to this point, and trying to take inventory, take stock of whether or not it has been worth it. You might be feeling uncertainty now, you might be feeling doubt. And you might be trying to judge if something has been a failure or success before it is the time to actually judge that. Because the hard work, though you have been putting so much in, it's not necessarily over. And you might be thinking, oh, it's over, because you're thinking, well, I should be somewhere by now. I should be somewhere that I'm not right now. But shoulds are very dangerous. Should appears, there's no such thing as should, but with should, we create, I think, the thing that the very thing that we are afraid of. By saying I should be somewhere that I'm not, I'm saying, well, I'm definitely not there and it's not working for me. And then we immediately place these invisible limits that were never there to begin with, when we could have been just steps away from getting to wherever there is. It's possible that your rewards that are waiting for you are not necessarily monetary. They're not necessarily coming in the form that you imagined them to come in. Being Pentacles, we expect things to manifest as rewards in front of our eyes, to be rewards that we can hold in our hands. That's not necessarily the way that the universe always does reward us. It's also not the way that the universe necessarily encourages us or pats us on the back. Often the rewards that keep us going for further reward are kind of just these little Easter eggs that are waiting for us to recognize them. They are not necessarily huge slaps in the face. This could be a time where you are trying to decide if your hard work up until this point has been worth it. And that answer, there's no correct answer to that. What is the answer that you want? Because that is the answer that will be. If you pass judgment that your hard work has not been worth it, then it won't be worth it. If you say that you still are working towards something and it's working out in your favor, then guess what? You're still in the process of working it out in your favor. You are in control here. You are in more control than you think you are. And I would say definitely do what you can to make the decision that the hard work is worth it, because the universe is calling for you to be your own advocate here. 7 of Wands, also about meeting obstacles in your path, perhaps in like a late stage of the process, and thinking, well, why am I still having obstacles here? Shouldn't I be past the obstacles by now? The obstacles are there until you get to the thing. So not like there's obstacles just in the middle and then there's this long stretch of just, well, I just gotta not fight anything and then eventually I will get to where I want to be. The obstacles exist right up until the point where there are no obstacles anymore. And don't let final obstacles be the thing that causes you to turn around when you are steps away from being at your final destination. Your success is within reach, but courage and effort is required. Courage and effort is required. And you are being called to really dig deep for that courage and effort right now. If you are finding it to be a struggle, you have to dig deep for it. The 7 of Wands is also known as the Advocate card. There is a noble aspect to it of standing up for others who can't stand up for themselves, giving a voice to those who cannot voice their own needs and desires. You could be fighting very hard on behalf of someone else. This could be someone else's battle that you've been fighting, that you're wondering, am I helping at all? You are helping. Because this double 7 is saying you are so close to manifesting the heaven on earth, and the heaven on earth scenario for this specific thing that you are working towards. You are so close to that. And your hard work will pay off. This is just a particularly tedious obstacle that you need to work through. Don't be discouraged by it. I also see, though, that this is not so much, if it's not on behalf of someone else, this hard work that you are putting in, if it's not on behalf of someone else, and it is just hard work for yourself, I'm really hearing that strongly. You have to be your own advocate here. You have to be the one to decide to deem the hard work worth it. By questioning if your hard work has been worth it, it's almost as if you don't have your own back. Whatever the voice you need to hear, whatever is the voice that you need to hear, whatever is the words that you need to hear right now, that you wish someone in, let's say, some sort of authority position would tell you, would encourage you, something that would encourage you to keep going. Don't expect to hear that from an external source right now. The universe is saying you need to be that voice for yourself right now. And the reason why is because you might not get that external voice right now. These are isolating times, and times also when many people are very focused on themselves and on their own journeys right now. Not necessarily in a self-centered way, but more so just thinking, well, what can I do to play my part in this grander play? And they are experiencing responsibility and focus on their own parts right now, on playing those parts. And the same goes for you. You need to play the part right now of being your own advocate, of standing up for yourself with the same nobility and enthusiasm and passion and love and care and nurturing that you would standing up for someone else whom you see as good and deserving. Because in this scenario, you are the one who is good and deserving. And if you don't see it that way, that is part of the problem. The advice here, and the action that you should take, more specifically, we have the Strength card plus the 8 of Cups. So, talking about digging deep into those reserves of courage that you have. Yeah, you need, this is a time when that strength is required of you. And being strong does not mean feeling invincible. Being strong means continuing to stand for what you believe, to work towards what you believe with that same dedication and passion and drive, even during the times when you don't feel invincible, when you don't feel like you can do it. That is the very definition of strength. To be strong when everything is going well and when you feel great, that's actually not really strength. That's a perfect scenario. It feels easy. And strength is only necessary when things don't feel easy. So if things do not feel easy for you, you're on the right path right now. You're on the path that you need to be on right now. And this is a time to put your strength to the test. You have an infinite reserve of strength. You might think that that reserve is finite, or that you only have so much to go around, but this might be a time that surprises you how much strength you actually do have. Now, paired with the 8 of Cups, this is a time, I think, of where you're experiencing stagnation, and maybe you're not feeling well, maybe you're not feeling like yourself right now. And that's part of why this is a struggle, part of why this is particularly difficult for you. But this 8 of Cups, it's signifying a departure, a real change, a situation that you've already left emotionally, And now the universe is asking you to physically follow, to have the action that you take. Pentacles, remember. This is about doing. Both of these sevens are about doing, not just reflecting and contemplating and being stuck in the stagnation of measuring if your hard work has been worth it, weighing those things, not staying stuck in that place, but really taking physical action that is rooted in how you already feel. You've already been feeling a certain way, and it's by not acting on those feelings, you're out of alignment with yourself, which might be the thing that's causing you to doubt your path and to doubt your hard work. It takes strength to listen to our hearts. And I think there's something that your heart has been telling you in this particular scenario throughout the hard work that you have been doing. And to listen to your heart about this topic is requiring a real strength from you. It's almost easier to just ignore it and listen to your brain instead, or listen to someone else instead. But that's part of the problem here. There is no one else. You are depending on yourself right now in a very big way. You are being forced to depend on yourself in a very big way. I think physically, but also completely emotionally and mentally, internally, spiritually. And you can depend on yourself because you are that strong. You are the strongest person in your life. And I think many of you, that is shocking to you, because either you're not thinking of yourself as strong, you're not thinking of yourself as resilient, you're not thinking of yourself even as dependable. Or maybe you are for others, but not yourself. You provide for yourself what you are able to provide for others. And whatever this nagging is, this nagging feeling is that you have from this Eight of Cups, it's time to actually move. It's time to actually let those feelings move you, instead of continuing to live in the feelings. These feelings are like alarm bells. And it's like if an alarm bell were going off and you were just sitting with the bell continuing to go off. Just being like, yeah, the alarms are going off and I know that, but I'm going to just finish up what I'm doing here before I acknowledge what the bells mean and act on the bells. The bells should be changing your behavior and changing your action. And it requires strength to do that, but I have every reason to believe that you can do that, Sagittarius. I think the reason why you might be, though, afraid of this, or why this feels like it is requiring exceptional strength on your part, is because you intuitively know that this is an enlightening upheaval for you. This Tower card paired with especially the Nine of Wands. You have worked long and hard to get to the point where you are right now. To get to the point where you feel like you've found this plot of land in this battle that you know is yours, that you know is safe. And you've have enough experience, you know how to adequately defend yourself at this point. You've set you've set these boundaries, you've set this line of wands up, these sticks, without realizing that you might have built a prison around yourself. These boundaries could be prison bars. They could be walls of a tower that have not been so much keeping people out, but keeping you in. And it could also be keeping people out, though. Keeping people out that you may not necessarily want to keep out. Keeping things out that you might not necessarily want to keep out. Not everything that invades your space is a threat. Not everything that crosses a boundary is a threat. And perhaps those boundaries that you have set that might have served you at one point in one certain context, but they are not necessarily serving you now. This tower requires reform. It requires a renovation. But at this point, you've let the nagging feeling go so long. And you've been focused on this hard work for so long. Kind of maybe with blinders on, that it's gotten to a point where it's taking an act of God to strike this tower down, because the universe is going to step up and help you. And I really feel that most of you know this, most of you sense this. That is why there is this element of defensiveness, not necessarily being adequately defended based on real experience. There's a fine line between that and being actually defensive in a way that it limits you, keeps you in a fear-based mindset, keeps you acting from a fearful place. If you are always on the defense, you're not living life. And I think that's even applied to the way in which you've gone about this hard work. Do you defend this work every step of the way? Do you feel like you have to defend it to the world? Do you feel like you have to defend it to yourself? And that's why the cards are saying now, you're done with that. It's time to be your work's best advocate. It's time for you to be marketing your own work. It's time for you to be building yourself up to the rest of the world, to be a pedestal for your own work. You are your work's advocate. You are also your work's benefactor. You are championing. You need to be championing. It's not a word. You need to be championing yourself right now, championing your own work right now, championing this hard work, whatever this journey is that you are on, whether this is like physical work, a physical job, an actual project, a relationship you have been working very hard at to take to the next level, whatever it is that you have been pouring yourself in. You can't go about that being on the defense, being on the defensive to everyone, having to defend it to everyone else, including yourself. It takes away from actually being in the moment and being in the process and living it and enjoying it. It also is rooted in a lack of just general faith and trust in the way that your story is unfolding. A lack of faith and trust in the universe. It's not just about you having your own back, but believing that the world has your back. Believing that you are part of something much bigger than yourself. And that's, I think, that's a hard, some of you might be struggling right now balancing the feeling of having to depend solely on yourself right now But then reconciling that also with this other duality of like, you can also depend on the world. Both of those things are true. It's great to fully feel like you can depend on yourself, that you are your own advocate, you are the person who is always your number one fan, who is going to be building you up and supporting you. But if you do that and then also falsely assume that that means everyone else does not have your back and is not advocating for you, you're missing the point. Creating this sort of support for yourself only is then mirrored by the world around you. The universe only mirrors your treatment to yourself. The way you treat yourself, the universe will treat you. You are setting the example for the rest of the world. It's like an invitation you are putting out. This tower that is crumbling down by the end of the month for you is huge. This is a personal transformation, a personal breakthrough, and it might be a very unexpected upheaval. In this deck, we don't see the tower as an actual tower, but rather a tree that has roots that go very, very deep. Again, something that you have been pouring yourself into. The Seven of Wands, the Seven of Pentacles for a very long time. It doesn't necessarily mean that that work is crashing down, but there's something about the way in which you have gone about it that might be crashing down. The way in which you have thought about it. The tower often represents psychological towers, belief systems, entire ways of just being, ways of existing, ways that we see ourselves in relation to the rest of the world and how we function in it. And that is the thing that can be potentially falling down around you very soon, crashing down around you. But when that tree burns, it takes a fire in order to really experience the enlightenment of the event. It's a literal enlightening here, but also just you see things because there are things brought to light in that tree, in that tower, catching fire, that allows you to then see it, every little nook and cranny lit, aflame. You see what it's made of. You see what's on the inside of this tree and how it grew. You see the seedling that was planted that created it as it comes down around you. And this time might make you feel incredibly vulnerable. But the key is there's a letting go that needs to happen by the end of this month for you. And this is not a tower that you should be defending. This is not a tree that you need to defend anymore. You can let this burn down. I encourage you to let it burn down. Because that's just going to open you up in ways that will make you look back and feel grateful that things changed course for you. Of course, destruction of any sort feels painful and confusing and scary. That's just the nature of change and how human beings are. But the tower is such a powerful card for transformation and enlightenment. And if you are able to go through it without resistance, without feeling defensive, without letting those limitations get in your way, then I think it will lead to the personal breakthrough that you deserve. That is something you should be fighting for. You deserve a transformation right now in your life at this point. You deserve a personal breakthrough. You've worked long and hard enough for that. I also see the tower being with the Nine of Wands. I think this is also, there's some other noise. I also see, because the Tower is linked to the Nine of Wands, these Wands cards, that's about soul purpose, that is about fire, that is about desire, what you desire and what motivates you, what inspires you, what is pushing you to the next milestone, the next lesson in your life. It's so important to honor the things that we desire, and the desires that come from a place of light, not a place of fear, like I have to have this or else this will happen. That's a fear-based desire. But the desires that are like, I want this because it feels light, it feels good to do it, and it makes me, it's fulfilling to both me and the people around me. That is a sign that it's a desire, that it's a motivation that is aligned with your highest good and your highest self. And I think that with this Nine of Wands, there may have been things that you've been pursuing that are not necessarily that. It could be those things, those limitations in the realm of wands that are kind of crumbling down right now, that are catching fire. It's as if each of these prison bars that you've built are their own tree, their own tower that will soon be crumbling down. So again, let that go down. There are things. This could be a confusing time for you, because there are things, and only you can know this by going in and really looking at your emotional landscape and recognizing the emotions that are nagging, the ones that feel dark and the ones that feel light, and having the strength to discern the difference. But there are things that you should be able to recognize by the end of this month. What things are doubting that are coming from a place of just honest, like, this is not good for me and I'm going to let this go, versus, oh man, well, I've been working too hard and now I'm judging how hard I've been working, and that's where should comes into the picture. I should be further along. That kind of contemplation and reflection is not serving you. Keep going for the things that still are bringing you joy and bringing you purpose and fulfillment, things that you're very, very close to, where you just need a boost of encouragement, not being discouraged by the obstacles that are still in your way right now. Reconcile that, though, with the things that you also know are not good for you. And that could literally just be a mindset of doubt. It could just be the mindset of doubt about this. The doubting yourself, the not being your own advocate. That could be the thing, that psychological tower that needs to collapse, that needs to burn down in this forest fire. Regardless, I think April has the potential to be an incredibly transformational month for you, Sagittarius, and stay the course. There is a difference between your doubts and your intuition. Don't confuse them. You have the ability to discern the difference, and you will. You will. I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for joining me. If you liked this video, feel free to like and subscribe and share with friends or anyone else who might get a kick out of it. I am sending you so much goodness during this time. Please be well, be safe, stay inside, and guess what? I literally love you.